Tonight, when the lights go out, something will happen inside you. It will not be dramatic. It will not announce itself. But somewhere beneath your conscious mind, a very old part of your brain will quietly shift into a different mode. Alert, scanning, listening for something it cannot name. You will probably ignore it. You will tell yourself it is nothing. And you will be right. Mostly. But that feeling is not nothing. That feeling is 2 million years old. And the real reason it exists is far stranger than you think. Your fears are not yours. That is the thing nobody tells you. The things that make your pulse quicken, your stomach drop, your breath go shallow, almost none of them originated with you. They were handed down, carved into the structure of your nervous system by ancestors who lived in a world that would seem completely alien to you today. To understand why you fear what you fear, you have to go back. Not a few generations, not a few centuries. You have to go back to the African savannah, 2 million years ago, where a small group of hominids were doing something revolutionary. They were surviving, and survival, it turns out, leaves marks. Psychologist Martin Seligman at the University of Pennsylvania was one of the first researchers to formally study what he called preparedness theory. He noticed something strange. Human beings develop phobias remarkably easily, but not about everything equally. People become terrified of snakes and spiders with almost no exposure. But almost nobody develops a phobia of cars or electrical outlets, even though both kill far more people every year than snakes ever have. Seligman's conclusion was precise. Your brain did not arrive blank. It arrived preloaded with a list of things to fear. That list was written by every ancestor who lived long enough to pass their genes on. The ones who were not afraid of snakes got bitten. The ones who were not afraid of the dark got eaten. They did not reproduce. Their fearlessness died with them. What survived was fear. Your specific, particular, sometimes embarrassing fears are the evolutionary inheritance of every human being who made it through the night. So what did ancient humans actually fear? There are 4 categories, and each one has left something in you that you carry right now without knowing it. The first category is predators, and this one runs so deep it has reshaped the architecture of your vision. Neuroscientist Lynn Isbell at the University of California, Davis spent years studying the relationship between primate brains and snakes. What she found was extraordinary. The visual cortex, the part of your brain responsible for processing what you see, developed much of its complexity specifically in response to snakes. The ability to detect fine detail, to notice subtle movement in peripheral vision, to rapidly distinguish a pattern from a background. All of this was sharpened by millions of years of coexisting with venomous predators. You are not just afraid of snakes. Part of your brain was literally built to find them. And it goes beyond snakes. Research by Arne Oman at the Karolinska Institute in Sweden showed that humans detect snake and spider images in visual scenes faster than they detect flowers, mushrooms, or any other natural object. Even when the images are presented so rapidly, the conscious mind never registers them. Your fear response fires before you are even aware you have seen something. This is not learned behavior. This is hardware. Think about what that means for a moment. Every time you flinch at something in your peripheral vision, every time a rope on the ground makes your heart stop for half a second, every time you feel that instinctive recoil before your brain has had time to process what it is looking at. That is not weakness. That is your predator detection system working exactly the way 2 million years of evolution designed it to work. The second ancient fear is darkness. Not darkness itself exactly, but what darkness meant, what it hid. For most of human evolutionary history, the night did not belong to us. It belonged to the things that hunted us. The big cats of the African savannah are predominantly nocturnal hunters. Leopards, lions, and the now extinct Dinophilis, a saber-toothed predator that paleontologists believe specifically targeted early hominids. All of them used darkness as cover. Your ancestors who felt uneasy in the dark paid attention. They stayed close to the fire. They stayed close to the group. They survived the night more often than the ones who wandered off casually into the darkness. Research on nyctophobia, the fear of the dark, consistently finds that it is not really darkness people fear. It is the unknown that darkness creates. Your brain, deprived of visual input, begins to generate its own threats. It fills the void with possibility, and that possibility, shaped by millions of years of genuine nocturnal danger, defaults every single time to the worst-case scenario. Something is out there. Something is coming, and you will not see it until it is too late. That is your ancient brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. There is no malfunction here. The darkness was genuinely dangerous, and some part of you still knows it. The third ancient fear is one that surprises people most. It is not predators. It is not the dark. It is other people, or more precisely, strangers. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar at the University of Oxford has spent decades studying the social architecture of human groups. What his research consistently shows is that your brain was optimized for a world of around 150 people. A tight, stable, known group where you recognized every face, understood every relationship, and could read every social signal with precision. Outside that group was a different world entirely. For most of human evolutionary history, an unfamiliar human being was a potential threat. They competed for your resources. They might carry disease. They might be scouting for a raid. Your brain did not have the luxury of extending trust automatically to every person it encountered. It made you hesitate. It made you watch. It made you feel that faint, quiet discomfort that you probably still feel today in certain social situations. That sense that someone does not belong, that something is slightly off, that you need more information before you can relax. That is your threat assessment system running a scan it has been running for 2 million years. Not bias, not irrationality. Ancient intelligence doing its job. The fourth ancient fear is perhaps the most invisible of all, and it might be the one that affects your daily life the most. Contamination. Psychologist Paul Rozin at the University of Pennsylvania spent his career studying disgust. What he found was extraordinary. The disgust response, that visceral, full-body revulsion, is almost perfectly calibrated to ancestral disease threats. Things that could kill early humans through contamination, rotting meat, infected wounds, bodily waste, trigger disgust responses in modern humans that are nearly universal across cultures. You did not learn to find these things revolting, you arrived revolting them. And the contamination fear does not stay contained to obvious threats. It spreads, it generalizes, it attaches to ideas, to people, to objects that carry even the faintest signal of the original threat. This is why certain textures make your skin crawl, why the smell of decay triggers nausea before you have consciously identified the source. Why violation of what feels clean and pure produces an emotional response that feels completely out of proportion to the actual danger. Your disgust system is 2 million years old, and it is still scanning for threats that mostly no longer exist. Now here is the counterintuitive twist. Every single one of these ancient fear systems, predators, darkness, strangers, contamination, has migrated into the modern world and attached itself to new targets. Heights, ancient threat, falling from trees and cliffs, modern manifestation, vertigo on a glass elevator, panic on a rooftop balcony, anxiety looking down from the 15th floor of an office building, crowds, ancient threat, losing track of the group, being overwhelmed by competing social signals, the chaos that precedes conflict. Modern manifestation, social anxiety, panic attacks in packed spaces, the specific exhaustion of being surrounded by too many unfamiliar faces, the sound of sudden loud noise, ancient threat, a predator breaking cover, a rival group attacking. Modern manifestation, an exaggerated startle response to a car backfiring, a door slamming, an unexpected notification sound at 3 in the morning. And here is what you need to understand about all of this. Every morning you wake up, go through your day, interact with the modern world. And underneath all of it, this ancient fear system is running quietly in the background. Scanning, flagging, generating subtle signals that shape your attention, your decisions, your preferences, your aversions, in ways you almost never consciously notice. You chose a seat with your back to the wall in that restaurant. Your ancient brain did not want anything approaching from behind. You felt uneasy walking past that group of unfamiliar people at night. Your threat assessment system was doing its job. You flinched at that sudden movement in your peripheral vision, even though it was just a plastic bag in the wind. Your predator detection hardware does not wait for confirmation. None of this is weakness. None of this is something to be ashamed of. None of this is a disorder to be medicated away. This is the accumulated survival intelligence of every human being who made it through the predator-filled, disease-ridden, socially complex world of the African savannah. 2 million years of field-tested threat intelligence compressed into your nervous system, running continuously whether you ask it to or not. The world has changed faster than evolution can follow. The fears that protected your ancestors can feel disproportionate and embarrassing in a world where the ancient threats are largely gone. But your nervous system has not received that update. It is still running the original software. And here is what you can do with this knowledge. When the fear fires, when the darkness feels threatening, when the stranger feels suspicious, when the height feels vertiginous, when the disgust response kicks in over something that cannot actually hurt you, you do not have to obey it blindly. You can recognize it, name it, understand that it is not a personal failing, but an ancient signal that has outlived its original context. Knowing the source of the alarm does not make it disappear, but it changes your relationship to it. You become the observer rather than the victim. You can feel the fear fully and still choose what to do next. Tonight, when the lights go out, something will happen inside you. You know what it is now. You know exactly where it came from. You know that the ancestors who felt it survived because of it, and that you are here today only because they did. The question is not whether you will feel it. The question is what you will do with it.